Hello, I'm Valentin Mandace from Historic Houses of Romania, Case d'Epoca, and I'd like to speak about the elements of the roof of a Neo Romanian style house. If you go in Bucharest, you'll see many houses which are provided with towers, and those are Kula towers, as they're named in the Neo Romanian styles, and of course the houses are in the national style of this country, called Neo Romanian. It defines about 1/3, maybe even more, from the stock of historic houses, old houses of the town. And as you go throughout the country, again, quite a large proportion of the houses, especially in urban Romania, is in Neo Romanian style. In the south of Romania, in the east, and even in Transylvania, where it had a later spread after Transylvania came into Romania after the Great War. So it's something essential, especially for the urban skyline. But you also find them not infrequently in the countryside too. The roof, which defines this skyline, needs to be known. What defines it? What it characterizes it? I have here a few examples of Neo Romanian style houses for you to have an idea how a Neo Romanian style house look. This is a classical example for this one. I'm not sure if you can see it from the iPhone camera. It looks like a citadel, the house, and the roof has to be adapted to the many components of the house. The tower, as I said, I mentioned at the beginning, Neo-Romanian style houses usually is provided with a tower. The Kula tower shows to you the national romantic message of the style, that the Romanians have been a citadel in this part of Europe against the advancement and onslaught of the Ottoman Empire of great power of the Middle Ages. So the roof has to be adapted. Usually the roof is inclined in this kind of slope between at the angle of between the 30 and 50 degrees, the slope, and is well adapted for the heavy snowfalls at this latitude in Europe. So it's the type of the slant of the roof is adapted for this climate, for the winter climate, and also in the summer reflects well the heat of the sun. So it's part of the local experience of building houses. Another Neo Romanian style house, again massive, has to be massive Neo Romanian style house with the roof, which I mentioned before. Usually, as I said, at 45 degrees, these elements covering different corners of the house. Sometimes they can be steeper, as we will see quite soon. This is another example of Neo Romanian style house. Here you can see nicely the Kula tower, and this one is a bit more complicated with an intermediate slope cutting into the pyramid of the roof of the tower, and also playing with roof around it, covering the house properly. An important element of roof, of course, is its cover. What is covered? And in Neo-Romanian style, usually are fish-scale tiles, like this ones over here. Look at them. So usually they are industrial grade fish-scale tiles. These ones are Majolica, a bit more expensive, from before the Great War, somewhere in the Icoane area, the house in Icoane area of Bucharest. And again, they are very good in keeping warmth in the winter and reflecting the heat of the sun in the summer. Why they are in this shape, fish scale? Again, it has a lot to do with the national romantic message of the style, namely that a Neo Romanian house has to reflect, apart from elements like religion, the idea of a citadel, and also the backbone of the nation, who are the peasants. And the peasant houses are usually covered in wooden shingle. So this type of tile emulates the wooden shingle of the peasant houses. That is the idea. The airing of a roof most often is done by this kind of attic windows. Most usually they are triangular, isosceles triangle or equilateral, and it has also a message, this shape is the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity again is seen all over the Neo Romanian style house, in elements grouped in three, but even the attic window has to be triangular of a roof like this. This is a more ordinary type of fish-scale tile, and this time on a round roof of a tower. Here we have another important element of the Neo Romanian style, the finial. The finial, roof finial, the ornamental element which finishes a structure, a roof in this case. That's why we call it roof finial. And it has this kind of aspect. Their origin is in the peasant architecture. The peasants put on the roof of their houses, at the end of the roofs and at the extremities, ornaments like this, and also was used throughout the Ottoman Empire, from which again the Neo Romanian style inspires itself, especially from the Brâncovan Volician style architecture, which is a branch of the Ottoman architecture of the 18th century especially. A roof finial you can also see here, for example, over here. All of this weight, especially the fish-scale tiles, they are very, very heavy, have to be sustained by a very solid structure inside the roof. And this is what I had the opportunity once to photograph inside the Neo Romanian style Kula tower roof. And you can see all of this beam, powerful beam, very thick and solid, put together, have to sustain this roof. So if you enter a Neo Romanian style house, expect yourself finding an underlying structure like this. That poses problems when you want to renovate the house and make their rooms for offices or living habitation. That you have to get around this kind of things, and perhaps to make a metallic beam structure which will free the space like this. But the original Neo Romanian style house, it has this kind of very rich power structure underlying the roof in order to keep its heavy weight, which in turn the weight of the tiles ensure the thermal comfort of those living or working there throughout the winter or the summer. The finials, the roof finials, they come in many forms and shapes. I had a video about them a while ago. This one, for example, here looks like a medieval mace, pyramid over here, and usually they are about the weaponry or symbolism of Wallachia in the 17th, 18th century. The idea that the locals withstood the Ottoman Empire. Sometimes, and that is quite rarely, a Neo Romanian style finial, let's put it that way, is in the form is much larger, in the form of a lantern, but usually it's nothing underneath it to lit it. It's just ornamental with windows around, but it doesn't light anything underneath. It's just ornamental, and it's also massive, giving it this Ottoman Oriental aspect. Another ornamental element of a Neo Romanian style roof is the roof crest. It's not very often present. More often is the roof finial, as we see over here, but sometimes we have the roof crest, and ended by another finial here, which is missing in this case. It's in the Carroll Park area because of bad maintenance in the last 100 years or so since the house has been built. The origin of the roof crest comes again from the peasant houses. In a peasant house, you have the wooden shingle roof, and when it reaches the crest, the wooden shingle doesn't go like this, like a V, but a part of the wooden shingle goes a bit above, like a crest, and that is its origin. This one stays straight, of course, and it comes in different kind of forms, usually leaves or ethnographic motifs or Greek cross symbols, depending of the designer or the architect. Here we have another example of a roof crest in central Bucharest in Piața Romana, Casa Petrașcu. This one is from before the Great War, 1913, with finials. As you can see here, we have a roof made from a metallic sheet. That is much rarer than the one from tiles, Fischer tiles. Another important element of a roof, of course, is the chimney stack. People warmed up their houses in the winter, not like today with gas or oil, but with wood and coal, and needed chimney stacks to evacuate the smoke. And the chimney stack also is used as an ornamental symbol, like a statement in Neo Romanian style. Here is a house from Târgoviște, about 80 kilometers northwest of Bucharest, and the chimney stacks, they look like citadel towers, as you can see here. Again, it's in tone with the national romantic message of the style that the Romanians were here as a citadel against the empires around, and especially the Ottoman Empire. Another important ornamental and also functional element of a Neo Romanian style house is the roof eave. The roof eaves, we have here an example, most usually are very elaborated with this kind of crest around with fretwork and this kind of woodwork sustaining the structure above, also giving it an ornamental touch with lots of symbolism as well. As you can see, it's very ample. It's much ampler than the usual house as you find in Europe. This is an Ottoman tradition in Southeast Europe, and it has also very practical reasons. In the summer, provides shade. In the winter, keeps a bit away from the wall the heavy snowfalls. So extremely practical from that point of view. Let's see another roof eave. This one, it has a special pattern and this kind of square, and emulates the ceiling of Ottoman houses, Ottoman palaces, which are done from this kind of made in this kind of woodwork. And you can see the woodwork at the edge of the roof eave, very complicated in 2 registers, as we see over here. Complicated, an orgo of love, and also very expensive. This one is from a house in Cotroceni. It was on the route of my tour yesterday by Peter Boyko, the architect from the early 1930s. Another roof eave. This one is even more complicated. Quite often, a Neo Romanian style roof, they want to go as much as possible outside the walls in order, as I say, to provide the shade and also protect from the heavy snowfalls. So it goes with a part of it horizontally like this, and then the roof itself extends overhanging like this, like an umbrella nearly. Very good for thermal comfort without using the dreadful air conditioning. The water from the roof has to go down through spouters, to spouts, the rainwater pipes. And very often, again, they are ornamental. As this one here, it has this kind of coil on it. It's a serpentine shape, inspired from the columns of a veranda or at the entrance of the house. The columns itself are inspired from the Brinkovan-style churches, Volician-style churches. If you go to Stavropoulos, for example, the church in central Bucharest, in the old town, at the entrance of the church is guarded by columns like this, serpentine type of columns. The roof, that water has to go into the pipe, into the spout, through rainwater trough, and also it needs a hydrostatic device in order for the flow of water to go continuously, to not have bubbles of air to stop the flowing. You need a rainwater head, and this one again is used for ornamental purposes. In this case is a mace. Again, the idea, national romantic idea of fighting against the empires around, especially the Ottomans. So it fulfills its practical role, providing a space for hydrostatics in order for the flow of water to go through the pipe, and also an ornamental one. Here I have a collection of rainwater heads for your delight, different ones in Neo Romanian. This one is very ornamental, again over here, this one, or that one. Again, these things are common to most of architectures, but in the case of the Neo Romanian, as I said, they have specific shape, specific symbolism, and also very much adapted to the local climate. And having a better idea about it, we understand, we improve our understanding about the architecture, its symbolism, its identity value, and how valuable it is for a community, how it puts it into picture for us as visitors or people living in an environment like this, like Bucharest, for example. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to meeting you over the Facebook podcast at the next such broadcast. Thank you, and bye-bye.